You know what's funny? We live in a world that's absolutely obsessed with grinding, hustling, and never stopping. Everyone's out here acting like rest is a 4-letter word, like taking a break means you're weak or you've given up. But here's what nobody's telling you. Rest isn't quitting. Rest is the pause button, not the stop button. And today, I want to talk to you about something that might just change your entire life. You don't have to push until you break. You rest, then you continue. You don't quit. I see you. I really do. You're exhausted, aren't you? You've been going and going and going, and now you're sitting there wondering if maybe you should just throw in the towel. You're tired of feeling like you're not doing enough, like everyone else has figured out this secret to unlimited energy that somehow skipped right over you. You beat yourself up every time you need to take a breath. You scroll through social media and see all these people who seem to never stop, never slow down, and you think something must be wrong with you because you can't keep up that pace. Well, let me tell you something right now. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you're human, and humans need rest. Here's the real problem we're facing. Somewhere along the way, we started confusing rest with failure. We started thinking that if we stop, even for a moment, we're going to lose everything we've worked for, that the world will move on without us, that we'll fall so far behind we'll never catch up. So we push ourselves past our limits. We ignore the signals our bodies are sending us. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor and we call it dedication. But you know what that really is? That's not dedication, my dear. That's self-destruction dressed up in motivational quotes. The truth is, every single thing in nature has cycles. The seasons change, the ocean has tides that come in and go out. Even the earth itself spins in darkness half the time. Nothing in nature goes full speed all the time. Nothing. You know what happens to a bow that's always pulled tight? It loses its ability to shoot arrows. It becomes useless. The same thing happens to you. When you never rest, you don't become superhuman. You become burnt out. You become less effective, less creative, less capable of doing the very things you're trying so hard to accomplish. Let me share something with you that might make this click. There's this beautiful concept in music called a rest. It's that moment of silence between the notes. And you know what? Without those rests, music would just be noise. Those pauses are what give music its rhythm, its beauty, its power. Your life is the same way. The pauses aren't interrupting your symphony. They're part of it. They're what make everything else meaningful. Now, I want you to think about a farmer for a second. Stay with me here, because this is good. A farmer doesn't plant crops in the same field season after season after season without ever giving that soil a break. You know why? Because the soil gets depleted. It loses its nutrients. It can't produce good crops anymore. So what do farmers do? They let the field rest. They practice crop rotation. They give the earth time to restore itself. And you know what happens? The next harvest is even better. You are that field, my love, and you've been trying to produce harvest after harvest without ever letting yourself restore. So, how do we actually do this? How do we rest without feeling like we're quitting? Let me give you some practical steps that you can start using right now, today. First, you need to redefine what rest means. Rest doesn't mean lying in bed for 3 days doing absolutely nothing, although sometimes that's exactly what you need, and that's okay too. Rest can be switching tasks. If you've been working on something mentally draining, rest might mean doing something physical. If you've been running around all day, rest might mean sitting down with a book. Rest is anything that restores your energy instead of depleting it. Write that down. Rest restores. It doesn't just stop. Second, schedule your rest the same way you schedule everything else. I know that sounds ridiculous. You're thinking, why do I need to schedule rest? Because if you don't, you won't do it. You'll keep pushing it aside for just one more thing, and one more thing, and one more thing. Put it in your calendar. Treat it like an important appointment because it is. It's an appointment with your own well-being. Even if it's just 15 minutes, even if it's just 5, schedule it and honor it. Third, let go of the guilt. This is the big one. This is where most people get stuck. You rest for 5 minutes and immediately your brain starts screaming at you about everything you should be doing instead. Here's what I want you to do when that happens. I want you to look at that guilt and say, thank you for trying to protect me, but rest is part of my productivity, not the opposite of it. Say it out loud if you have to, because your brain needs to hear a new story. The old story says rest equals laziness. The new story says rest equals preparation for what's next. Fourth, pay attention to your body's signals before they become emergencies. Your body is constantly communicating with you. It's sending you little messages all day long. A little fatigue here, some tension there, maybe a headache. Maybe you're more irritable than usual. These aren't random. These are your body's way of saying, hey, I could use a break here. But what do most of us do? We ignore those whispers until they become screams. We wait until we're completely burnt out, until we're getting sick, until we can barely function. Don't wait for the emergency. Listen to the whisper. Fifth, understand that rest is strategic, not selfish. When you rest, you're not being selfish. You're being smart. You're making sure that you can show up better for everything and everyone that matters to you. You can't pour from an empty cup. I know you've heard that before, but really think about it. When you're running on empty, everything suffers. Your work suffers, your relationships suffer, your health suffers, your joy suffers. Rest isn't taking away from your responsibilities. Rest is what makes you capable of handling your responsibilities. Here's something else I want you to try. Create what I call rest rituals. These are small, simple things you do that signal to your brain and body that it's time to shift gears. Maybe it's making yourself a cup of tea. Maybe it's taking 3 deep breaths. Maybe it's stepping outside for 2 minutes. Maybe it's putting on a specific song. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it's consistent. Over time, these little rituals become powerful tools that help you transition into rest mode quickly and easily. And listen, I need to tell you something important. There will be people who don't understand this. There will be people who think you're being lazy when you rest. There will be people who try to make you feel guilty for not grinding yourself into dust. You know what you do with those people? You smile, you nod, and you keep doing what's right for you. Because here's the truth. The people who criticize you for resting are usually the people who are burnt out themselves and miserable about it. They're projecting their own inability to rest onto you. Don't let their issues become your issues. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually do this. When you allow yourself to rest and then continue instead of quitting, magic happens. Real magic. You start thinking more clearly. Solutions to problems that seemed impossible suddenly become obvious. Your creativity comes back. Your energy comes back. Your passion comes back. You start enjoying the journey again instead of just grinding through it. You become more patient with yourself and with others. You make better decisions. You do better work. You feel better. You are better. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you give yourself permission to rest, you actually accomplish more. Not less, more. Because you're working from a place of fullness instead of emptiness. You're working with your natural rhythms instead of against them. You're sustainable instead of headed for a crash. So here's what I want you to do right now, right this second. I want you to identify one way you're going to rest today. Just one. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe you're going to take a 10-minute walk. Maybe you're going to close your eyes and breathe deeply for 2 minutes. Maybe you're going to say no to one thing that you really don't have the energy for. Pick one thing. Do it today, not tomorrow. Today, and then I want you to notice how you feel afterward. Notice if your mind is a little clearer. Notice if your body feels a little lighter. Notice if you have just a little more patience or energy or creativity. Pay attention to what rest actually gives you instead of what you think it's taking away. Remember this, you are not a machine. You're a human being with a beautiful, complex system that needs care and attention. The most successful, fulfilled, joyful people aren't the ones who never stop. They're the ones who understand that rest is part of the process. They're the ones who know that you rest, then you continue. You don't quit. You've got this. You really do. And you know what? Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's sacred. So go rest. Then come back stronger. Come back clearer. Come back ready. Because the world needs you at your best, not your most exhausted. If this resonated with you, do me a favor. Leave a comment below and tell me one way you're going to rest today. Just one. Let's start a movement of people who understand that rest isn't weakness. It's wisdom. And subscribe if you want more of these conversations about doing life in a way that actually feels good. You deserve to feel good. Now go rest, my dear. Then continue. Don't quit.